Hi and welcome to the first video of a series of videos exploring the elements of learning. Some of you might be aware already that Apple are providing training to a number of King's teachers and leaders across the organisation. Currently there's about 70 teachers taking advantage of that training, which is absolutely fantastic. This is the first video in a series of videos to explore the elements of learning, and this video explores the first idea of teamwork. The principles explored in this video, whilst they are delivered by Apple, can be applied to any device or platform, or even without technology in itself. So let's explore the first elements of learning, teamwork. Let's look at the introduction to teamwork. First of all, technology can support the communication and joint reasoning that is essential for team collaboration. By sharing a digital workspace, students can create and edit content together, refine each other's contributions, exchange information and ideas, and keep track of project timelines and save materials anywhere. This obviously can be explored through apps like Google Drive as much as it can be through Apple products as well. Let's look at the different stages of teamwork that might be evident in your own classroom. So teamwork begins when students participate in group work, interacting in pairs or small groups on learning activities and collaborative documents. Some degree of teamwork is fostered when students act as thought partners or reviewers to each other's work, while they can have a primary responsibility for their own products. At higher levels of teamwork, the lesson is structured so that students must work together in meaningful ways to achieve the outcome. This includes collectively addressing and resolving important issues together, building consensus, and working on a shared purpose. In these team activities, students can also help each other to learn the content of their work more deeply by working through it together. Meaningful teamwork is created by giving students collective responsibility for a shared product that they must develop together, and by incorporating important issues that students must resolve together through joint reasoning. What's important to consider with each of the stages of teamwork is how vital each individual student is within the group. For example, can the shared product still be created if one member of that group was not part of it? This can also be achieved by assigning specific roles to the children in those groups as well. This diagram reinforces the model and the importance of shared responsibility in teamwork. First of all, at the not evident end, the children are working completely on their own and there is no requirement or no expectation of teamwork. As we go through the different stages, at the lower end we have some form of group work, going through to the higher levels of teamwork where we have a shared product and joint reasoning. Notice the difference between medium and high, where we've got a shared product or joint reasoning, and at the higher end we are expecting both. And as a reminder, each person's role is so important in that team that the team becomes interdependent on each other to achieve their set goal. Let's explore some examples of how teamwork could look in practice, and all of the apps we're going to explore now are free apps on the iPad. However, there are alternatives. So for example, Pages is a word processing app on the iPad, but this could be done in Google Docs. Or we have other apps like Keynote, which could be done in PowerPoint or on Google Sheets. Let's first of all explore Pages. So in this example, we're going to use Pages to write a blog post. And as mentioned already, this could be done in other apps as well. And the example of teamwork here is that children are working in pairs and each student will read their partner's blog to learn about the topic. The students take notes on their partner's blog for their own information and reference. How can we encourage higher levels of teamwork though? Well, let's stick with the same activity. So students are still writing a blog post using Pages. This time they're going to feed back to each other as a critical reviewer. And that's really important, that the expectation here is quite different, that they'll be reviewing that product to feedback. Let's also explore how the pair can engage in discussion through collaborating using the comments feature on Pages. And this is a dead easy feature to use. which is located in the top right-hand corner. And just like in Google Docs, you can add comments to other people's work. In this case, the comments feature on Pages will allow the students to provide feedback to their partner, respond to the feedback as well, and also discuss possibilities for the revision of the work. So at the two different ends, we have some basic teamwork going right through to a much higher impact example of teamwork using Pages. Let's explore Keynote next. So in this teamwork example here, we're looking to create a shared product using Keynote. And the students are going to work in pairs to collect different fallen leaves from the school playground. And then they're going to photograph the leaves using the camera tool. And the teacher has already created a shared album within the Photos app. So some really good use of technology so far. The teacher's then going to provide a Keynote template. So this could be done on Google Slides as well. A Keynote template for children to work on individually to collect their photographs. So some basic levels of teamwork here. We've got the children working together to collect the fallen leaves, and I've also really liked the shared photo album idea. Let's extend that to see what could happen next. Okay, so let's introduce a higher level of teamwork now to create that shared product. And students are going to work together to collect their leaves, and they're going to take their photographs and put them into that shared album in Photos. So exactly the same starting point as the first example. This time though, when they're using the template shared by the teacher, which the teacher's created in Keynote, they're going to use the collaboration feature. And this way they can add their photographs together to make either a group or a paired presentation. The collaboration feature is found in the top right-hand corner of the app, and it's a really useful tool for creating that shared product. The children could have responsibility for their own pages each, and that way they are reliant and interdependent on each other. Maybe they have an editing role or a shared role in a different purpose, but much higher impact here of teamwork, even with the same lesson starter. Okay, over to GarageBand next. Now in GarageBand, we're looking for some joint reasoning for our teamwork elements. And here, the students are working to create a podcast in GarageBand about climate change. The teacher gives each group an assigned climate change topic and a set of resources, and asks the students to provide a summary of those resources within their podcast. So some early elements of teamwork at the starting point and some good use of technology with regards to creating a podcast. Let's see how the idea of teamwork can be extended. So even at the higher end, we're still going to stick with GarageBand, creating a podcast about climate change. And in their groups, the students are going to take responsibility for selecting their own climate change topic to address the issue. They're going to determine how to obtain the information, and they're also going to decide what to include within the podcast. Here we're seeing joint reasoning by the team working together, and although the teacher did structure the ideas at the start, they are giving responsibility over to the children to come up with their own ideas for that joint reasoning and teamwork outcome, still creating a podcast. When planning teamwork activities within your class, and this could be using technology or not using technology at all, some key questions to consider at the planning stages. So are students working together on academic content? Are students creating a shared product? And are all team members needed for the product to be successful? Are students participating in joint reasoning by discussing and building agreement on substantive content? Some really key questions to consider at the planning stages to ensure your teamwork is getting the desired outcome that you would like it to have. Let's take a look at some further examples of integrating teamwork, and we're looking at Pages, Keynote, GarageBand, and an app we haven't explored yet, which is Numbers, which is a spreadsheet tool. So on Pages, we could be using the comments feature for the children to provide feedback to each other. In this example, it was a blog post. Or we could be using the collaboration feature, where students can share their work to create a shared product. For example, a newspaper or a newsletter magazine article. Within Keynote, we've already explored the collaboration feature, where the children can make a shared presentation about a given topic. Or it could be that they're creating an interactive story or app using the collaboration feature, where each student has responsibility for a given element. In GarageBand, we explored the podcast idea already. In addition to the content that the children could be researching, it could be that the teamwork element is that they have a technical responsibility, for example, the recording or editing process, that way making each student reliable on the other person working and contributing. Finally, in numbers, the spreadsheet app made by Apple, which could be the same uses as Google Sheets. We could be using Safari along with numbers, and the students could bookmark and share their research. They could create a collaborative research project within their spreadsheet, for example, finding out speeds or heights of roller coasters. Another example might be within maps, and the students could identify the pros and cons of a particular idea. It could be maybe that there's a plan to build a new park in a town. What would be the pros and cons of building that park? And the collaboration could come through the data and the findings within the numbers spreadsheets. I hope you found this interesting and took away some ideas for how you can deepen teamwork within your classroom. If you're interested in joining any more Apple training that's taking place in the future, please don't hesitate to get in touch. There's still some sessions during the summer term to take place. If you're interested in exploring the elements of learning further, the Elements of Learning eBook is available from the Apple Bookstore and it's completely free, where teamwork is one of the 5 elements of learning to explore within your classroom.